Welcome, my friend, to the Inner Code. This is more than just a channel. It is your sanctuary for unlocking hidden truths, a place where you will awaken to a power you've carried within you all along. Before we begin, take a moment to breathe, to be here fully. Today I will reveal something Bob Proctor understood, something so profound, so life-altering, that it could rewrite the story you've been telling yourself about wealth, success, and abundance. If you're ready for the secret that few ever hear, let this be the day it finds you. If this resonates, don't forget to subscribe, to share this message with someone who needs it, and to stay with me until the final words, because that's when the true promise of this journey will fully unfold. What if I told you the key to unlocking abundance is not what you think? What if the reason you've struggled to manifest wealth, love, or opportunities has nothing to do with your affirmations, your vision boards, or the countless hours you've spent trying? You see, Bob Proctor was not simply a teacher of money or success. He was a guide into the hidden machinery of the mind, a man who spent decades uncovering what actually drives our reality. And while the world often reduced his wisdom to quick quotes about thinking positively, Proctor himself carried an untapped secret, a secret he shared only with those who were truly listening. He knew the surface level wasn't enough, because repeating "I am wealthy" when your heart screams "I am broke" is like whispering to the wind and hoping it will sculpt the mountain. Words are not the power is the paradigm. And until you understand this deeply, fully, you will repeat cycles no matter how hard you try. Let us speak plainly. Have you ever stood before a mirror, affirming wealth, love, or success, only to feel a quiet voice inside laughing at you? Have you ever written down goals so lofty they sparked excitement, only to feel them collapse under the gravity of old doubts? This is not failure. This is not weakness. This is simply the evidence of something deeper at work. Bob Proctor called it the paradigm, a collection of beliefs, emotional habits, and subconscious programs etched into you from childhood. It is the invisible script that decides how much money you feel comfortable earning. It is the thermostat that pulls you back down when you try to rise too high. It is the reason why two people equally talented can take the same action, yet one prospers while the other barely survives. The paradigm is not intellectual, it is emotional. It does not live in your conscious mind where logic resides. It lives in your subconscious, the seat of your self-image, the hidden place where your life is written long before you act it out. This is why affirmations often fail, because you are speaking new words to an old identity. And until you shift the paradigm, until you rewrite the feeling you live from, the words remain only words. Bob Proctor once said, "If you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand." But what he meant was far deeper than visualization. It wasn't about pictures on a vision board. It was about transforming the vibration of your being. When you truly feel wealthy, even before wealth arrives, you alter your paradigm. When you embody success, even while the world doubts you, you rewrite the script. And that shift is so powerful that it bends circumstances to match your inner state. It is not attraction, it is resonance. Abundance is not chasing you, it is waiting for you to align. Think of it like a radio station. You may want to hear music of joy and prosperity, but if your inner dial is tuned to fear, scarcity, and doubt, you cannot receive the broadcast. The station is playing, but you're not tuned in. And here lies the secret Proctor pointed to. You do not attract abundance, you tune yourself to abundance. So pause and ask yourself, what station am I tuned to right now? Not in the words you say, not in the mask you wear for the world, but in the quiet feeling that lives beneath it all. Is it lack? Is it fear? Or is it the calm assurance that life is conspiring for you? This question is not small, it is everything. Because until you know the frequency you live on, you cannot change it. And the secret Bob Proctor left for us is this: abundance does not begin with more effort, more hustle, or more clever affirmations. Abundance begins with a paradigm shift. Let us go deeper. Imagine your mind as a factory. At the top is the conscious mind, the thinker, the planner, the dreamer. This part of you sets goals, reads books, and gets inspired. But beneath that lies the subconscious mind, where the paradigm is stored. This subconscious does not argue. It does not analyze. It does not reason. It simply accepts. If the paradigm says money is hard to earn, you will sabotage opportunities unconsciously. If it says you are unworthy of love, you will resist intimacy without even knowing why. And here's the radical truth. The subconscious mind does not care what is true. It only cares what is familiar. If scarcity feels familiar, it will keep you there. If struggle feels safe, it will hold you hostage. The paradigm is not logical, it is emotional. That is why you cannot simply think your way out. You must feel your way out. Bob Proctor emphasized this. You don't get results by what you know. You get results by what you do with what you know. But even that is incomplete. The real transformation comes not when you know intellectually, not even when you act mechanically, but when you embody. When you internalize a new truth so deeply that it becomes automatic, effortless, natural. That is the moment the paradigm shifts. That is when abundance stops being something you chase and starts being something you live. Think of someone learning to ride a bicycle. At first, they study the concept, they try, they fall, they repeat. But the day arrives when balance is no longer a conscious effort. It becomes embodied. The paradigm has shifted. The same is true with wealth, success, and joy. When the feeling of abundance becomes natural, your actions, decisions, and results all flow effortlessly from that state. Why is this so important? Because ignoring the paradigm costs you more than money. It costs you years of potential. It costs you peace in the present moment. It costs you relationships, health, and the quiet joy of knowing you are enough. This is why so many live on repeat, chasing new affirmations, new strategies, new hacks, while the paradigm silently drags them back to where they've always been. It is not because they are weak, it is because they are programmed. But here is the truth Bob Proctor wanted you to know. Programming can be rewritten. How, then, do we rewrite it? It begins with awareness. You must observe your life without judgment, noticing the patterns that keep repeating. Notice the way you react when a bill arrives. Notice the way you feel when someone succeeds. Notice the story you tell yourself when you fail. These are not random reactions. They are windows into the paradigm. Once you see them, you can interrupt them. Each time you catch yourself falling into the old groove, you create a crack in the program. And in that crack, you plant a new seed. Not just with words, but with feeling. This is where focused repetition enters. Not the mechanical repetition of empty affirmations, but the emotional repetition of a new state of being. You don't say, "I am abundant," to convince yourself. You say it until you feel it. You rehearse the vibration of wealth, of joy, of wholeness, until the subconscious accepts it as familiar. That is when the paradigm bends. That is when abundance begins to emerge. Not because you attracted it, but because you became it. And so we stand at the threshold. We have uncovered why affirmations alone fail, why paradigms rule, and why abundance is not something you chase, but something you tune into. But this is only the beginning. Because in the next movement of this journey, I will show you exactly how to rewire your inner operating system, practical steps to interrupt limiting paradigms and install the code of abundance. And if you think this is just about money, stay close, because the ripple effect of this shift touches every corner of your life. Relationships, health, peace of mind. But before we step forward, let me leave you with this. If you are not living the life you desire, it is not because life has denied you. It is because the paradigm has blinded you. And that blindness can be healed. Picture this clearly. Every action you take, every decision you make, every result you achieve, it all flows downstream from the riverbed of your paradigm. If the riverbed is carved with scarcity, your flow will be struggle. If it is carved with abundance, your flow will be ease. The surface of the water may change, but the current is always guided by what lies beneath. Bob Proctor understood this with a clarity that few ever reached. He would look people in the eyes and say, if you want to change your results, you don't change your actions, you change your paradigm. Because your actions will always fall back to match the paradigm you're operating from. So how do we change it? How do we take this invisible code, written long before we were aware, and rewrite it to match the life we truly desire? The answer lies in a combination of awareness, feeling, and repetition. Not the tired repetition of hollow affirmations, but the deliberate repetition of an embodied state.
Step 1. Seeing the program. First, awareness. You cannot fix what you refuse to face, and most people live unconscious of their paradigm, like fish in water, never realizing they are swimming in a medium that defines their every move. Start noticing. Notice how you react when money leaves your hands. Do you feel fear or do you feel gratitude? Notice what happens when someone else achieves success. Do you celebrate or do you shrink? Notice what story repeats in your head when opportunity knocks. Every reaction is a reflection of the paradigm, and the paradigm always reveals itself through feeling. Bob Proctor would remind his students, your feelings are a direct expression of your vibration. Pay attention to them, for they are the language of your subconscious. So when you feel scarcity, do not condemn yourself. Observe it, name it, become aware of the water you are swimming in, because awareness cracks the code open, allowing new programming to enter. Step 2. Interrupting the program. Awareness alone, however, is not enough. You must interrupt. When you notice yourself sinking into fear about money, pause, breathe, interrupt the automatic story that wants to play again. This is where most people give up, because the paradigm feels like gravity. But remember, gravity can be resisted when you learn to fly. Here is a technique. Each time you feel scarcity rising, deliberately shift your body, stand taller, place your hand on your heart, speak a new word into the moment. Say, I choose abundance now. Don't just whisper it, say it with authority, as if you are commanding your own subconscious. At first, it feels unnatural. The old program resists, but that is the point. Change is not comfortable, it is disruptive, and every time you disrupt the old pattern, you weaken its grip.
Step 3. Installing the new program. Once the old is cracked, the new must be installed. This is where repetition becomes your ally. Bob Proctor often taught the power of autosuggestion, the deliberate feeding of new ideas into the subconscious through repeated feeling and imagery. But here is where most people misunderstood him. They thought repetition alone was the key. They repeated words like parrots, waiting for magic. But Proctor knew better. Repetition without feeling is powerless. Repetition with emotion is destiny. So when you affirm, do not just say, I am abundant. Close your eyes. See yourself living abundantly. Feel the gratitude of paying bills with ease, the joy of giving freely, the confidence of walking into opportunities without fear. Let the emotion of that vision flood your body, and then repeat, again and again, until the feeling itself becomes familiar. For the subconscious mind, familiarity is truth. The moment abundance feels more natural than scarcity, the paradigm has shifted. And from that day forward, abundance will begin to flow into your life, not as an external prize, but as an internal reflection. Here is another truth Bob Proctor emphasized. Your subconscious does not know the difference between imagination and reality, nor does it know the difference between past, present, and future. That is why worry is so destructive. When you worry, Your subconscious experiences the event as if it is happening now, reinforcing fear as truth. But this also reveals the secret's power. When you imagine abundance vividly, your subconscious experiences it as now, rewriting the paradigm in real time. This is why visualization is not daydreaming. It is training. It is programming. It is the practice of living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled until your subconscious accepts it as the new normal. And once that happens, your conscious actions, your unconscious decisions, and your results in the world begin to fall in line.
Pause for a moment. Let me ask you something deeply personal. If the version of you 5 years from now, wealthy, abundant, at peace, were to step into the room and look you in the eyes today, would they recognize you? Or would they say, "This is not me. This is the old version still clinging to the old story"? This is the mirror test. And it is not meant to shame you, it is meant to wake you. Because the abundant future you desire is not waiting somewhere out there. It is waiting for you to become it now. And when you do, when your paradigm aligns with that future, the external world will bend itself to match. This is not philosophy, it is physics of the mind. When you rewire your paradigm, the ripple effect is extraordinary. It is not just money that changes. Relationships heal because you no longer approach them from need, but from wholeness. Health improves because stress dissolves when fear no longer dominates your mind. Opportunities multiply because confidence attracts doors that hesitation would have missed. There is a man, Bob Proctor, once mentored who was stuck at a modest income for years. He read books, worked hard, tried affirmations, but nothing changed. Then he learned about paradigms. He began to rehearse the feeling of earning far more than his reality reflected. He practiced gratitude for money he had not yet received. Within 18 months, his income multiplied 5-fold. It wasn't luck, it wasn't even his skills, it was his paradigm. The moment his subconscious accepted abundance as natural, the external world reorganized to match. This is the overlooked principle. Success is not achieved, it is expressed. Abundance is not something you fight for, it is something you allow. But let's not confine abundance to dollars and cents. Bob Proctor never did. Abundance is the richness of life itself. It is the laughter of your child echoing through your home. It is the love that meets you at the door after a long day. It is the energy that carries you through the morning without fatigue. Money is only one expression. If you pursue it alone, you will still feel empty. But if you shift your paradigm into the frequency of abundance, you receive wealth in all forms. Money, yes, but also love, health, time, and joy. That is why this work is sacred, because it does not just change your bank account, it changes your soul's experience of life. Now there is one more ingredient that Bob Proctor stressed, and it is often overlooked: environment. You cannot rewire your paradigm while drowning in the old programming of others. If everyone around you is tuned to scarcity, their vibration will pull you down. This is not judgment, it is physics. Proctor often said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Surround yourself with voices that lift you, with books that challenge you, with environments that reflect where you are going, not where you have been. Because environment is the soil in which your paradigm grows. Plant yourself in abundance, and abundance will bloom. And now we stand here deeper into the mystery. You have seen the power of paradigms. You have glimpsed the tools to rewrite them, and you have begun to sense the ripple that abundance creates. But the true untapped secret, the one Bob Proctor knew but rarely articulated directly, is still ahead. Because while many know about paradigms, few grasp the deeper truth, that abundance is not attracted, not created, not even achieved. Abundance is something far greater, far simpler. And in our final chapter together, I will unveil this truth in a way that will never leave you. Stay with me, because the greatest revelation is yet to come. We have walked far together,
We've uncovered why affirmations often fail, why paradigms rule your reality, and how to begin the sacred process of rewriting the code within you. You've seen that abundance is not something you chase, it is something you become. And yet, there is still something deeper, something Bob Proctor pointed toward in his most intimate teachings. It is the secret that turns all of this from theory into embodiment, from a practice into a way of being. It is this: abundance is not outside of you at all. It never was. It is your nature.
Most people live their lives searching for abundance, like miners in a cave, digging, striving, hoping to unearth some hidden treasure. They believe money, success, joy, and love are out there, waiting to be won or earned. But Bob Proctor knew this was illusion. He knew abundance is not a destination. It is the essence of who you already are. You were born abundant. You were born with a mind that can think, with a heart that can feel, with a spirit that can imagine realities into being. There is no greater wealth than this. The only reason you don't see it is because the paradigm blinds you, like clouds covering the sun. Limiting beliefs, inherited fears, and subconscious programming obscure the light. But the light was never gone, it only seemed hidden. And when you shift the paradigm, when you dissolve the clouds, you don't attract abundance, you simply see what was always there. So let me ask you, with all the weight of this journey behind us, what if abundance is not something you must fight for? What if it is not something you must even earn? What if abundance is the truest reflection of your being, the default state of your soul? Because if that is true, then your work is not to create abundance. Your work is simply to remember it. This is the untapped secret, the hidden layer, the overlooked principle. Abundance is not attracted, it is awakened. Once you understand this, everything changes. You stop chasing, you stop striving, you stop treating life like a battlefield where you must conquer and earn every drop of joy. Instead, you turn inward. You align with the truth that abundance is your birthright, and from that place, you begin to live from the inside out. When you wake up in the morning, instead of asking, "What do I need to get today?" you ask, "What do I choose to express today?" When challenges arise, instead of collapsing into fear, you say, "This is only the old paradigm echoing. I am already abundant. I will walk through this with certainty." And when opportunities appear, you no longer hesitate. You no longer question your worth. Because worth is not something you prove. Worth is something you are. This is what Bob Proctor spent his life teaching, that wealth, success, and joy are not things you achieve. They are expressions of the abundance already within you. Think of it like breathing. You don't fight for air. You don't earn oxygen. You simply allow it. Abundance is the same. It is the air of the soul. When you stop resisting with fear, doubt, and scarcity, it flows naturally. The shift, then, is not about forcing abundance to come. It is about removing the resistance to what is already yours. It is about aligning your paradigm with the truth of who you are, a being of infinite potential, limitless creativity, and boundless worth. Consider the woman who lived her life believing she was unworthy of wealth. She worked tirelessly, yet every raise slipped through her fingers. When she discovered Bob Proctor's teachings, she stopped chasing money and began cultivating the feeling of abundance within. She practiced gratitude not for what was coming, but for what already was. Within a year, opportunities she had once overlooked became clear. She didn't attract money, she simply became aligned with the flow of it. Or the man who struggled with loneliness for years, thinking love was something he had to earn. When he shifted his paradigm, when he remembered that love was already within him, he began radiating it outward. And soon, relationships blossomed effortlessly, not because he tried harder, but because he stopped hiding from the abundance of love already inside.
These are not miracles, these are laws. This is the untapped secret in action. So now, let us bring this home. Close your eyes for a moment and picture your life 1 year from today if you truly lived this secret. Imagine waking with peace, walking with confidence, receiving money with ease, giving love freely, and seeing abundance not as something out there, but as something you are. How would you speak differently? How would you move differently? How would you carry yourself into every room? This vision is not fantasy. It is a glimpse of the truth that is already yours, waiting for you to claim it. Here's your challenge. This week, take one small but deliberate step into the paradigm of abundance. Choose one moment each day to interrupt the old story. Place your hand on your heart and declare, not timidly, but with certainty, I am abundance. I do not attract it. I am it. Feel it. Embody it. Walk in it as though it were already true, because it is. Do this not as a ritual, but as a remembering. Do it until the feeling becomes familiar, until the subconscious accepts it, until the paradigm shifts. And then share your experiences. Write them in the comments, speak them aloud, because your story may be the spark that helps someone else remember who they are. My friend, here is the promise I gave you at the beginning, fully revealed now. The secret to unlimited abundance is not hidden in affirmations, not buried in strategies, not locked in some distant future. The secret is this: you are abundance. You always were. And the moment you stop seeking it outside and awaken it within, your life will never be the same. This was Bob Proctor's untapped secret. Not that you must strive harder, but that you must finally remember yourself. So walk forward now, not as a seeker of wealth, but as an expression of it. Not as one chasing joy, but as joy embodied. Not as one begging for love, but as love itself. And let your life be the proof. If this message stirred something within you, share it with someone who needs to remember their own abundance. Subscribe to this channel, because together we are creating a sanctuary of awakening. And never forget, abundance is not coming, it is here, in you, now. This is your time. This is your truth. This is your abundant life.